Panthers. I'm going to be reading this book to you. It's called Thank You, Sarah. I read it every Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite stories. It's by one of my favorite authors, Lori Hall Sanderson, and also my favorite illustrator, Matt Faulkner. Now, I won't be showing you every picture, but I will be showing you a number of them. So, you think you know everything about Thanksgiving, don't you? How the Native Americans saved pilgrims from starving? How the pilgrims held a big feast to celebrate and say thank you. Turkey, pumpkin pie, cranberries, the works. Well, listen up. I have a news flash. We almost lost Thanksgiving. And I love this picture. It shows like the turkeys being very excited, but other people being shocked. What, no football games? Didn't know that, did you? It's true. Way, way back, when skirts were long and hats were tall, Thanksgiving was fading away. Sure, the folks up in New England celebrated it. They'd roast a turkey, invite the relatives when the harvest came in, but not in the South, not in the West, not even in the mid-Atlantic states. More and more people ignored the holiday. Thanksgiving was in trouble. It needed a superhero. And I love that picture showing a really buff Thanksgiving pilgrim. No, not that kind. Thanksgiving needed a real superhero. Someone bold and brave and stubborn and smart. Thanksgiving needed Sarah Hale. There's a picture of Sarah Hale right there. Now, I know what you're thinking. She doesn't look like a superhero. She looks like a dainty little lady. Never underestimate dainty little ladies. Sarah Hale was every inch a superhero. Not only did she fight for Thanksgiving, she fought for playgrounds for kids, schools for girls, and historical monuments for everyone. She argued against spanking, pie for breakfast, dull stories, corsets and bloomers and bustles, and a very serious thing like slavery. As if that weren't enough, she raised 5 children, wrote poetry, children's books, novels, and biographies, was the first female magazine editor in America, published a great American authors like Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and Edgar Allan Poe, and composed Mary Had a Little Lamb. How did she do all these things? She was bold, brave, stubborn, and smart. And Sarah Hale had a secret weapon. Now, in my class, I've been teaching them about signposts. And my kids, if they're listening along, they already know this one. It's again and again. And the again and again is that she was bold, brave, stubborn, and smart. And those ideas are repeated over and over again in this story, which shows us that it's an important part of the story. So I left off, and Sarah Hale had a secret weapon? A pen. I love that. Meaning she was a writer. And she used her brain and her pen to make things change. When Sarah saw something she didn't like, she picked up a pen and wrote about it. She wrote letters, she wrote articles, she wrote and wrote and wrote until she persuaded people to make the world a better place. Nothing stopped Sarah. And I love this picture. I know I keep saying that, but it shows that she's a mom, and nestled amongst her as she's writing her babies. So she's doing this after the babies are bed, and we can see how many letters she's written. Looks like thousands. Sarah Hale loved Thanksgiving. She wanted the whole country to celebrate. And on the same day, when folks started to ignore Thanksgiving, well, that just curdled her gravy. She picked up her pen. Sarah wrote letters, thousands of letters, asking politicians to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. She wrote magazine articles, asking her readers for help. The women of America listened. They put down their babies, their hoes, their skillets, and their washing, and they picked up their pens and wrote. When the letters arrived, the politicians listened too. One by one, the states officially made Thanksgiving a holiday. But that wasn't good enough. Sarah Hale wanted the whole country to celebrate together, like a family. So she wrote to the top, and this is a great picture too. We can see, if we're looking at this, there's Sarah. She wrote to the top, Well, that looks like it might be the president. It certainly is someone who's important because they're bigger than Sarah and they look imposing like Sarah. Great way to show the art. Sarah wrote to the president himself, Zachary Taylor. He refused. Did that stop Sarah? No. She waited for the next election and wrote to the next president, Millard Fillmore. He said no, too. Did that stop Sarah? No. She was bold, brave, stubborn, and smart. Sarah wrote to the next president, Franklin Pierce. Wouldn't a National Day of Thanksgiving be wonderful? No, Pierce grumbled. Now, if you're in my class, I'm expecting you to be able to figure out what the signposts are on this page. There's a ton of them. If we look at the pictures on here, again, we can see these men looking very imposing as they look at Sarah. They do not look like they're interested in what she's speaking about. Their body language is just saying no, okay? And I love this picture too because it shows that these men are important and they're not listening to Sarah. And even if I didn't read the words, we'd be able to tell that from the pictures. Sarah penned an elegant letter to President James Buchanan. She gave all the reasons why America would be better off if everyone gathered on the fourth Thursday in November to give thanks. President Buchanan disagreed. He had other things on his mind. And again, this is such a fabulous picture. We can see how upset he is. If we look carefully, we can see that there are people on either side of his head. We see that there is United States, and they're saying over here pro-slavery. So we know what side these people are believing in. And over here, we see the word abolitionist, and we see union. So these people are against slavery, and they're fighting each other on top of this president's head. This is right before the Civil War, and this picture shows it so beautifully. It's just a great picture. Sarah felt like the stuffing had been kicked out of her. Everything was going wrong. America was at war, the North against the South. States that had promised to celebrate Thanksgiving changed their mind. The country was falling apart. It was a bleak and scary time. And again, this is a picture we're showing. We see that the words United States are separated. We can see the two different flags. We can see that right here, they've got guns pointing at each other. There's a lot of stuff going on. We know that this is a really serious time in our country's history, and this picture shows this. The two sides are fighting each other. We're also part of the United States. So, such an amazing picture, and there is Sarah looking on, looking worried. Did that stop Sarah? Now, by now we would go, no, because we know that Sarah's going to keep on going. So in my class, think about the signposts that I have taught you, okay? No way, nothing stops Sarah. Superheroes work the hardest when things get tough. She picked up her mighty pen and wrote another letter, this time to President Abraham Lincoln. America needed Thanksgiving now more than ever. A holiday wouldn't stop the war, but it could help bring the country together. She signed the letter, folded it, slid it into an envelope. She wrote Mr. Lincoln's name and address on the envelope and stuck on a stamp. She mailed the letter. She waited and waited. And then, let's look at this picture. We see this president looks different, doesn't he? He's thoughtful. He doesn't look like he's saying no. We still see that there's a lot of people fighting each other. It's not a happy picture, but we do see that Abraham Lincoln is thoughtful. I love that. Lincoln said yes. Lincoln said yes. In 1863, President Lincoln made Thanksgiving a national holiday, a day for all Americans to give thanks together. It took Sarah Hale 38 years. Thousands of letters and countless bottles of ink, but she did it. Nothing stopped Sarah. That bold, brave, stubborn, and smart lady saved Thanksgiving for all of us. And again, how wonderful. We have a holiday because of a really strong, smart woman. I love that. Thank you, Sarah. And again, the last page is just a wonderful picture of all types of Americans getting together as a family, celebrating Thanksgiving. And isn't that something that makes our country just a wonderful, wonderful place? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed this story, and have some pie for me. Okay, bye-bye.